Good evening, this is News.PH, but it's not politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros.
It says that we endorse the attached complaint. It doesn't matter kung mali ang spelling ni Renato Reyes, non-existent na si Renato Reyes. Is that how technical we should be? Ang klaro dito, we are endorsing the attached impeachment complaint. Ito yun. That is the essence of the act, not the letters.
So many interesting things going on in politics. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Representative Neil Tupas Jr. of Iloilo, he's chairman of the House Justice Committee, and Representative Terry Ridon of the Kabataan Party List, they're joining us. And a little later on in the show, Secretary Edwin Lasher, the presidential spokesperson, will be here. Good evening, Secretary Tupas, Congressman Tupas and Congressman Ridon. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, Congressman Tupas, take us through the process first. No, when an impeachment complaint is filed at the lower house, it is referred to your committee.
Yes,
Justice Committee.
Once it is filed with the Secretary General, it is included with a certain period of time in the order of business. Pagkatapos, it is referred by the plenary to the Committee on Justice, and that is the start of the initiation of an impeachment proceeding. Nangyari ito August 11, 2014. 3 complaints were simultaneously referred to the Committee on Justice. It means, Pia, lahat ng complaints after that will be barred under the 1-year bar rule under the Constitution. So we started the other day. It was we tackled the form, that is the first stage, and it was a very intense debate.
And that's
I did not expect that because it's just form. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng form? Form is verified yung complaint, may signature ng complainant, and endorsed.
Pag sinabi mong verified ang complaint, anong ibig sabihin nun?
There's a form under the rules of procedure of the House na kailangan, yun in essence, yun ang susundin na form na sinasabi lang na alam mo yung pinipirmahan mo, ikaw ang complainant. That's the first requirement. The second requirement is that there must be an endorsement or endorser.
Endorsement by
a member of the House.
Of Congress, okay.
So ito yung parang we just go through the process when we take up when we discuss form, but this was not the case the other day. Talagang mainit ang discussion, and in fact, very interesting points were raised, Pia. Hindi lang rinaise yung verification, rinaise pa ng some of the majority members of the House. Sabi nila, may Supreme Court circular. Follow natin, no? So, very interesting, but at the end, we voted to declare the 3 impeachment complaints sufficient in form.
Sufficient in form. How many members does the committee have?
55 members, plus around 15 to 20 ex officio.
Okay, when you say ex officio, you mean?
The deputy speakers, the majority leader.
Okay, pero yung 55, karamihan, nandun kahapon.
Kasi 62 ang nag-present eh. That's the most number of members na na-experience ko sa isang committee.
So may nagpapunta sa kanila, hoy, punta kayo ng Justice Committee hearing, ganon.
Siguro impeachment talaga ganon.
Dahil impeachment.
Ang impeachment talaga very, very highly emotional.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you for specific numbers, but what are the party affiliations of the members of the House Justice Committee? Majority of the members galing sa majority coalition. Yeah, majority coalition meaning allies of the president.
Allies, yes.
Okay.
Tapos meron minority rin.
Okay. So therefore, what we are going to see is kapag may botohan along party lines, parang gano'n. Di ba?
Kahapon hindi nangyari yun eh. At least
but we'll get into that kung bakit parang bakit yung mga allies ni presidente bumoto para sufficient in form. But we'll get to that in a while. So, kanina sabi mo, sufficiency in form pa lang ang tindi na ng debate.
Yes.
So, sa sufficiency in substance, you expect an even more protracted, bigger, longer debate.
Yeah, it will be highly emotional kasi because based on the arguments the other day. Pero pag tinignan mo Pia ang rules ng impeachment, like so the requirement of substance is met when there is recital of facts constituting the offense charge and determinative of the jurisdiction of the committee. In other words, sa layman's term, kailangan andun yung elements ng betrayal of public trust.
In other words, how the one who is going to be impeached betrayed the public trust.
In other words, yes, tama. In other words,
etc.
Kung totoo itong mga complaints na tatlo na ito, kung totoo, assuming totoo yung allegations ng recital of facts, meron bang betrayal of public trust? Meron bang culpable violation of the Constitution? Meron bang graft and corruption? So yun yung pag-uusapan, and medyo matindi ito kasi may mga subjective na grounds. Like for example, betrayal of public trust is very, very subjective.
Okay. Itong yung vote to say na sufficient inform yung tatlong complaints, no? Was this a case of you didn't want to kill it at this too early a stage?
No.
Para you won't look so
hindi
biased.
May mga members na kumausap sa akin before the hearing. Ano bang mangyayari?
Ano bang mangyayari? Or anong gusto mong mangyayari?
Yun, ano mangyayari?
Anong mangyayari?
Yeah, ngayon sa hearing. I told them, well, if kung may form, let's vote kung may form. Kung may defect, then we have remedies under the rules. So ang nangyari, dahil very spontaneous yung discussion, yung majority na mismo, nakita mo naman na medyo may mga disagreement. And I told them, sabi na paano pag may disagreement kami? Sabi ko sa kanila, well, I am the presiding officer, although I'm officer of the party. Pero,
Liberal Party.
Yeah, I'm officer of the Liberal Party, but I will be very fair here. So kung may disagreement tayong majority, I will not be afraid to divide the house.
Yeah.
And ano yung nangyari, di ba?
Yes.
I divide the house every time, and hindi ako natatakot kung sino manalo doon. So, ang lumabas doon, Pia, yun talaga, may form.
Yeah. So it wasn't like there was an agreement among the President's allies in the House Justice Committee, or there was any usapan na gawin natin tong sufficient inform because it would be bad form to kill it now.
Wala.
Walang ganun.
Wala. Kasi kung nakita mo, yung iba gusto nilang patayin na rin, di ba? Meron na rin doon na gusto nila. So, walang usapan doon.
Okay. Congressman Terry Ridon is here also. Congressman Ridon, yesterday, were you a bit taken aback by the vote that said, okay, sufficient inform? Ano ba yung tumatakbo sa isipan?
Well, we were expecting naman po na at the very least, doon po sa form, wala na ho masyadong debate. Kasi simple lang naman yung kailangan ho doon . Merong valid verified complaint, tapos meron pong endorsement po ng kongresista. Meron naman ho kaming nung dalawa pong elemento po na yun. So, parang we were expecting a smooth sailing doon po sa debate po kahapon, pero hindi ho ganun yung nangyari. Talagang there were several members that had very serious objections in proceeding with determination of form. So, well, luckily, and we're very happy, na talaga naman pong eventually pumayag na rin ho yung committee na sufficient informed po yung impeachment complaint.
Hindi naman malisyosa kayo mag-isip na parang, pinagbibigyan tayo ngayon, para hindi masabing pinatay na nila at such an early stage.
Well, siyempre, to be frank, no? Parang may ganun ho kaming iniisip, no? Na parang hindi naman ho tayo pinanganak kahapon at nakita naman natin yung impeachment complaints noon po sa dagdaang gobyerno na sa form po talagang lumulusot yan. Kasi form lang naman . Diba? Parang yung dating naman before, parang sobra naman pag pinatay na ho natin agad. Pero sa pagdating ho sa substance, agad-agad pong pinapatay. Pero syempre, masaya din naman ho kami dahil yung chairman naman po ng Justice Committee, very fair naman din ho siya talaga dun sa kanya pong pagpapatakbo at pagpapadaloy po ng komite. So, kung magbabakbakan, kung papatayin sa sunod pong linggo, di ganun ho talaga.
You're not saying that, of course, just because Neil Tupas is sitting
syempre,
beside you.
Parang wala nga ho siya rito.
Okay. You don't expect it to be an easier discussion when you talk about sufficiency in substance, right?
Well, most definitely it will be more difficult because we will have to show to the committee that the president had in fact betrayed the public trust and that this is not a mere violation of the Constitution, but a culpable violation of the Constitution with respect to the DAP. So I think we really need to convince the 55 members plus the ex-officio members that the president might have might be liable for an impeachable offense.
Can you convince them?
Well, we hope so, which is why we have always been saying that the public support is most indispensable to this impeachment proceeding.
Yeah.
Because in the past, in all the impeachment proceedings naman po in the past, para to a certain extent, the votes of the congressmen were sometimes determined by the level of public support that impeachment complaints were getting.
But do you think you're going to get that same vote when it comes to sufficiency in substance?
Siyempre, we're still dreamers naman ho kami. So, baka sakaling may magbago ho ng ano, at they don't vote based on party lines. No? And they vote the same way that they voted yesterday. So, baka
Seriously,
sakaling,
you expect that?
No, of course no. Of course
Oh,
not.
you're dreaming. You're dreaming.
Yeah, we're dreaming. I have to wake up. But nonetheless, siyempre, we will still put up a fight by next week to really show to the public that the president indeed committed culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust.
Yeah. Congressman Tupas, papayag ba ang majority sa mababang kapulungan na makalusot itong tatlong impeachment complaint sa sufficiency?
Malalaman natin next week. We've set a hearing. I will not vote as chairman. Ang pangako ko lang is I will give the complainants, endorsers a chance na sufficient time. Sabi ko nga, naging liberal kami, di ba? We,
Yes.
Actually, nag-usap kami no ng senior vice chairman. He suggested and sabi ko sa kay Congressman Farin, yes, I'm all for it. Dito sa form, let's be liberal. Yung spirit of liberality in the interest of justice. Pagdating naman sa substance next week, medyo maduguring, tingin ko
So you
magdudugo
will
yung
not be as
discussion.
liberal. Ang
Sabi
mga
ko sa-
liberal
ako-
eh hindi magiging as
No,
liberal.
ako, I will suggest because ang suggestion ko naman, may weight lang yon if I'll be supported by the members of the committee. But I'll suggest that kahit sa substance na tayo, kung pag-usapan natin yung technicality, we will still follow the rule of liberality. Pag may mga technical, let's say, kung kailangan ng time ng, may mga time pa na kailangan ng, kulang pa ang time ng mga complainant, pagbigyan natin. Kung meron kayong mga questions of, let's say, interlocutory question, yung issues, I'm not for it eh. Gusto ko marinig yung sasabihin talaga ng complainants. Ano, meron ba talagang laman to o wala? Substance. So, next week, I will propose that we will still follow that rule on liberality. If yung mga issues on technicality.
Issues of technicality
Yes,
only.
we will.
Okay, we'll have to take a short break. News.PH should be right back.
What we're saying is we believe that the president has not committed an impeachable offense. And I'm sure that the scene as reviewed when they go through the sufficiency of substance, when they go through the allegations of the impeachment complaints, that they will see that there is no merit that the president has committed an impeachable offense.
Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Still with us, Representative Neil Tupas Jr., Chairman of the House Justice Committee, and Representative Terry Ridon. So, tama bang or mali bang sabihin na token approval yung nangyari kahapon?
Mali yun, Pia.
Hindi token approval?
Hindi token approval. Yung, for me, personally, yung based dun sa pagtingin ko sa complaints and based on the discussion yesterday, talagang may form, sufficient in form yung tatlong impeachment complaints.
Okay.
So,
And,
kung sufficient yun in form, yun ang nangyari talaga, dineclare namin.
Yeah. And as far as you are concerned, Congressman Tupas, as chairman of the Justice Committee, there was no order whatsoever, walang pakiusap, walang tawag, walang text, walang tweet na nagsasabi sa iyo kung anong mangyayari, kung ano yung magiging lifespan or life expectancy ng impeachment complaint.
Wala. As far as I'm concerned. Sa akin, walang communication at all ang Malacanang, and mas maganda sa akin yun. Diba? Kasi very, very important yung process. And mabuti na rin na yung commitment ko to be impartial and fair. Mas maganda yan pag walang communication at all.
Yeah, sa'yo. Sa iba?
Sa akin. Sa iba, hindi ko masasagot kasi hindi ko na maalam.
Okay. But, of course, everybody knows you were lead prosecutor, hindi ba?
Yes,
sa impeachment trial, no? So, iba rin yung experience na yon. Ikaw mismo nagsusulong sa impeachment complaint against and arguing for
Iba rin
it
yun.
in the Senate, di ba?
Iba rin yun, but it was, it was an experience as well as yung kay Ombudsman Gutierrez because it prepares us sa mga succeeding impeachment na nangyayari. Nagiging veterano na tayo, Pia.
Veterano sa pagsusulong or pag...
Both.
Both. Okay, how to stop it na lang. Okay. All right. Can you go? Let's go back to this principle of liberalism, no, on determining sufficiency of form. So, pag sufficiency of substance, medyo maghigpit kayo.
So sufficiency and substance, I will propose next week na because there will still be technicalities that will be raised. I'm sure of that. And yung same liberality na we applied the other day, we will apply it dun sa mga technicalities.
Oh, technicalities. So yung ibang bagay,
yung ibang bagay when it comes to, let's say, yung pinaka-meat of the complaint, I will just address that to the individual conscience already of the members. Like, for example, the substance itself, the merits itself of the complaint. Hindi na natin yan, the rule on liberality would not anymore apply. Ang rule on liberality is more procedural.
Yeah, okay.
Like sa procedure, pwede tayong mag-lax, pero dun sa hindi, non-procedural, hindi na tayo pwede mag-apply nun. Yeah.
If the administration and its allies in the lower house wanted to kill these impeachment complaints, when would be a good time to do it?
Tanongin mo sila.
Sila? Kung the administration's ally, so you're not an ally? Wait,
I am
sorry,
an ally
I got confused.
I am an ally of the president. I believe in the president. I believe in his administration, his program, his vision. But sometimes now, it's like a balancing. I'm balancing two things here. A member of the party on one hand, and a chairman of the committee on the other hand. So as a chairman, you have to be neutral, not neutral but impartial.
Okay, okay, but take a step back, no. Remove yourself from being chairman, no. The question is kasi, when is a good time to kill it if you want to kill it, diba? In other words, kapag sabihin natin the committee says, okay, sufficient in substance, is that going to open the doors to,
Ako, ang tingin ko dyan, Pia, let's say, assuming, for the sake of argument, hypothetically, let's say sufficient in substance, it won't really matter whether sufficient in substance or not if you want to kill an impeachment based on your premise. Kasi ang complaint, kung may laman talaga, may laman yan eh. Because the audience here will be the people. Hindi, kasi pag bumoto naman ang congressman, kung mali ang congressman, alam ng tao naman na kung mali sila eh. So, kung anong stage man yon, to me, doesn't matter. The most important thing here is the strength of the evidence ng complainants. And yun, number one. Yung number two, is binention na rin ng Congressman Redon, is really the public support. So, dalawa yun eh. Kailangan mag-converge siya for an impeachment proceeding to succeed.
Terry, how far do you think you can go?
Maybe up until just form. So we're expecting talaga po by discussion of substance, papatayin na ho talaga yun. Well, yung kaya we're really appealing to the colleagues, no? Na palampasin naman ho doon sa substance. Kasi sa substance, so, ang dapat naman hong tinitiyak lang ho dyan ay yan po bang mga riniraise po na grounds ay impeachable offenses. So pag halimbawa, inakusa mo si Presidente ng siguro ng kidnapping, hindi yun obra. No? Hindi yun pwedeng impeachable offense. So, dapat mabasura yung complaint. Pero, yung ma-release naman po natin grounds doon ay betrayal of public trust, culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption. These are impeachable offenses. So, dapat ho, kumbaga wala masyadong debate doon po sa determination on sufficiency of substance. No?
Do you honestly think, well, kanina sabi mo, you think na hanggang sufficiency in form lang to, no? So, what you're saying is, you guys know na walang pupuntan to.
Well, we know that it is important to let the public know that we would want to exact accountability with respect to the President's participation in the DAP. So whether we will lose it in form yesterday or sa substance po next week, it doesn't really matter to us. What is most important is that the President knows that hindi naman niya ho talaga hawak lahat ng mga boto sa Kongreso dahil may tumututol po sa DAP at yung participation niya po dito.
Okay. Now, after sufficiency in substance, what is the, if the committee votes, no, na at sabihing sufficient in substance to, ano ang susunod dapat na mangyayari?
Assuming that the committee votes that they're sufficient, that the substance is sufficient, then the committee orders the respondent to file an answer and to submit affidavits.
Okay.
So wala mo ng hearing, Pia. Pag natanggap yun ng committee, then there'll be another voting. That's the third voting in the committee. We call it whether there are sufficient grounds to impeach.
Okay.
Kung meron, kung merong sufficient grounds to impeach, that's the only after that na lang magkakaroon ng full-blown hearing.
Well, can you imagine a scenario like that? Both of you, no, Congressman Tupas and Congressman Ridon, can you imagine that scenario where the House Justice Committee is ordering the respondent, who just happens to be the chief executive, who just happens to be the president, ordering the president to respond to the allegations?
Well, that's in the Constitution. That's in the Constitution. That's a system of checks and balances. It's the power of the sovereign. There's an accountability clause in the Constitution. It's nothing new. It's part of our system. And as I said, it could happen, but it will happen only if the evidence is very, very strong and the public support is also very strong.
Terry, do you think it's going to happen?
Obviously, the party leadership will never allow it. Because siyempre, if you have Congress with your allies there, and you order the President to respond para naman hong wala ka ng kalyado sa gobyerno pagkaho ganun. So, which is why we have been saying in the past impeachment complaints, for example, against Mrs. Arroyo, wala ko talagang sumulong up until after ng sufficiency in substance. Dahil pag lumusot na ho ng sufficient in substance, parang magkakapahiyaan na ho tayo dun pagkaho ganun. And we're expecting the same thing to happen dito po sa susunod pong mga linggo.
Okay, let's go into final words now. Terry, Ridon, you first.
Well, ang pinaka panawagan naman natin talaga rito, yung pong binabanggit ni Congressman Tupas, yung pong usapin po ng public support. No? Dahil sa actual naman ho, pagka may snowballing po ng public support, kahit naman ho gaano katindi ng pong majority coalition, pag nakikita naman ho ng mga kongresista yung taong bayan, nandun na ho sa Kongreso, talagang kumikilos para i-impeach si Presidente, tingin ko kahit po yung ganun po majority coalition, matitibag. Kaya yun po yung mas hinahabol po natin sa susunod pong mga linggo dito pa sa impeachment po na ito.
Okay. Congressman Tupas?
Well, Pia, the committee will continue to be fair. At least that's our objective, and we will continue to be fair. We'll give them opportunity on complainants in the next hearings next week. As chairman of the Committee on Justice, I will advise the committee members that after the debates and the discussion in substance, let's vote based on the merits of the case. So, ang importante dito, lalabas ng complainants ang kanilang
Ebidensya.
hindi ebidensya pa, no? But patunayan nila na dun man lang sa complaints, may laman yung complaints. So kung may laman yon, then we will ask the members na vote based on the merits. And kahit anong mangyari dito, whether it will proceed to the next stage or not, ang gusto ko lang dito bilang chairman na Pia na yung kung ano man yung boto doon, yun yung boses ng mamamayan, because at the end, this is the voice of the people. This is the power of the sovereign, di ba? Ito talaga yung pulso ng bayan.
But earlier you were quoted as saying you weren't sure that there was a clamor, right?
Saan?
Sabi mo, in the interview earlier that we aired of you weren't sure that there was a clamor?
No, I didn't say
No?
that. I didn't say that.
Oh.
About the clamor,
Yeah? Well, what did you say about the clamor? Is there a clamor? Oops.
no, I said I cannot comment on that because
Ito,
that
sorry.
might
Yeah.
influence.
Oh, sabi mo, and I quote you, ito naman, it's against the president. I don't know if there's a clamor.
Yes. I can't remember. I said I don't know, but what I meant was I cannot comment
Yeah.
on the clamor
Oh,
because
okay.
kasali siya sa impeachment eh, di ba? It
Okay,
might,
okay.
might influence the members.
So you're not saying walang clamor, you're saying hindi ko alam kung merong clamor, ganon?
Hindi, ang sinasabi ko is hindi ako makakapagsalita. to be consistent,
Yeah.
to be consistent dito sa impeachment proceeding. Mas maganda na rin na hindi ko ma-influence yung mga members.
Yeah. Okay. Would you be for a second term for the president?
Well, it would
You know what that's called? Dead air on television. That's so telling.
it would entail an amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah.
And
No, would you be for a second term? I'm not asking you how it can
personal,
happen. Yeah.
personal,
Yeah.
mas maganda si presidente pa. Okay siya as a
A
president.
second term or a term extension? What?
Hindi ko alam ang term extension because nga complicated yan eh.
Yeah.
When you say term extension, you will amend the Constitution.
Yeah. Okay. Or a second term.
Hindi siya pwede mag second term because
Yeah.
one
Unless
term
there
lang.
is unless there is charter amendments.
Yes.
But what my question is, would you be for
For the charter,
for Noynoy Aquino staying longer in power
through a constitutional amendment.
through a constitutional amendment?
Through a constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
If there's a strong clamor from the people, because it would be useless
Yeah.
kung walang clamor because it would go through the plebiscite. But
Yeah.
personally, the character of the president, I believe in the president.
Yeah. Well, na-float na yung idea, no? So, ikaw, ano bang feedback from your constituents, from your province? Is there a clamor?
Sa ngayon, hindi ko pa nakakausap, hindi pa ako nakapag-consult. We're beginning to consult the people, but wala pa kaming concrete na sagot sa aming constituents as of now.
Okay. And Terry, I suppose you are not for term
In-impeach
extension
na
or
ako
second
namin
term.
Gusto ko ba namin siya ng one day more? Baka hindi na ako siguro.
Thank you very much, Congressman Neil Tupas. Thank you, sir, and Congressman Terry Ridon. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll take a short break. News.PH. We'll be right back.
But let's wait for the endorsement of the President kung sino ang kanyang hahayagin bilang kanyang kandidato sa 2016 kung sakaling tutuloy ang 2016 elections.
Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH. I'm Pio Ontiveros. We have with us Secretary Edwin Lecher, the presidential spokesperson. Secretary Lecher, good evening. Thank you very much for being here in spite of your very bad cough. Would you like to cough first? Because it'll be bad form if you cough when I ask a really bad question. No?
I have water here anyway.
Sige. Inom ka muna ng tubig. Okay, let's begin with what happened last Friday, that particular soundbite. Ano yun, slip of the tongue? Or
No. The whole discussion was about term extension and charter change. For one reason or another, in my mind, I was thinking, let's wait for the preferred endorsement of the president in case he decides against term extension. But when I spoke in Taglish, that part, kung sakaling tutuloy, it just went through me without really, I didn't realize what I said, so.
The presidential spokesman did not
No,
realize what he
because
said,
I was thinking of,
sakaling.
because the whole thing was about term extension and charter change. We've never...
So what are you saying? What you meant was, kung sakaling magka-term extension,
Hindi,
tapos
kung sakaling hindi na, if he decides against term extension. Remember, we're in this whole process of the president being open about the Constitution, amending the Constitution. So it was speaking of judicial reach as well as a question on term extension about people asking him to do a second term. So that would necessitate charter change. So that was the whole discussion actually. So, but that was just a one phrase.
Yeah.
But if you look at the entire transcript, unfortunately, yes. But if you look at the entire transcript, it was about charter change and term extension. And there couldn't be any no EL scenario because I'm EL.
I'm EL. Sure, na siya. Who came up with that line?
What line?
Who gave you that line? Because there cannot be no EL because I'm
Because
EL.
my initials, no L.
I know, but ano yun, pa-cute?
No,
na
they're just
sagot?
thinking lang, it's just being funny.
Being funny. You're trying to parang down.
No, but there's really, certainly, there is no, we've explained this a number of times. Walang no L scenario.
Yeah.
Look, the Constitution is a product of the mom. And so we are very cognizant of the constitutional process. And never in our imagination did we ever even conceive of a no-L scenario.
Yeah.
It's just that the unfortunate statement came out, and people just ran with it, especially the opposition. They're building up and cooking up so many scenarios about what's going to happen to this, what's going to happen to that, which is, hey, look, get hold of yourselves. 2016 is still 2 years away, or
No, not 2 years.
nearly 2 years away. So we've got a lot of concerns that we're addressing right now. The president is focused, two things. The president is focused on the concerns, the problems in the country. And number two, the president is also concerned about making sure that we institutionalize the reforms and also making reform as an ingrained DNA in our Filipino culture.
So there is no chance in blank that elections in
There's no chance in
2016 will
heaven.
not push through.
There's no chance in hate.
Oh, just answer. So no chance whatsoever na walang election.
There is no chance in Hades, if you will. Elections will push through.
Okay. When the president mentioned those things in the television interview, was he trying to test the waters? Was he trying to see how people would react?
That interview?
Yes.
But the statement of the president came way far after I've spoken. And it's really, the president has always moved in the premise that he listens to the voice of his bosses. The president has always said, kayo ang boss ko. What's wrong with listening to the voice of his bosses? Not saying that we're going to act on it yet.
Yeah.
The important thing is, what are the sentiments of our countrymen with respect to
So what
that?
feedback has he gotten lately?
You know, just to give you a historical context to it, Manolo Quezon is a historian. He's our resident historian. When we were discussing about, just the two of us, discussing about charter change, and we were seeing what were the responses in the previous administrations. Term extension is a taboo subject. You saw it in FVR, you saw it in GMA, where there was overwhelming rejection of term extension. Kay Erap kasi, he formed a constitutional commission, in a sense, a body to study what provisions can be changed or amended. But in those two, FVR and GMA, there was overwhelming rejection, 80–90%. You have social media now as a finger in the wind kind of survey. Right off the gate, you saw 50–50. That's a big improvement than an 80–90% rejection. So the fact that you didn't have a rejection of term extension, no matter what the pundits say, no matter what the oppositions would say, there is a groundswell of support. Not saying but that's on one side. On the other side, we're also hearing the statements of the columnists, the pundits saying that they're against term extension and all that. All these are being taken into consideration and being studied. And so, where are we now?
Nagpagawa na ba kayo ng survey?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Because, of course, social media, that's just what, 35%? Okay, I'm not sure about the exact, 35–38% penetration lang yun eh. Hindi siya masyadong
we're saying. Well, if you're looking, 30% penetration is better than 1,200 respondents. I mean, if you look at the survey, a Pulse Asia survey or SWS survey, as a general rule would be about 1,200, the most 1,800 respondents all over the country. But like I said, this is a finger in the wind. That's something that we're doing, that we're seeing in the social media. We're not saying that we're taking that as gospel truth.
Well, gusto niyo ba magpa-survey? Para
we're not there
no,
yet. We're just,
you don't want.
We haven't decided yet on any action. But you're looking at people say, like, we can have some basis. You see everywhere, there are comments everywhere. People are, the daily barrage of criticisms by the opposition would already tell us where they stand.
Okay.
But do they have the voice of the people? That's also something that's debatable.
Okay. You feel, Malacanang feels that the president has the voice of the people?
We hear both sides. But like I said, from the very start, there is no overwhelming rejection from the people. You see that from the opinion makers, from the papers where they, they say that the Constitution is the Cory legacy, as if that is the only legacy of the Aquinos. The Aquino legacy goes beyond the Constitution. It speaks of the virtues of honesty, integrity in government service.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want the president to stay beyond 2016?
I will hold my
if either
judgment.
by no, don't withhold your judgment.
No, I
it's
can't.
okay. They're personal. Because you were with the Aquino campaign for what am I saying? You were with the Aquino campaign for 2010. You worked very close. You worked and you do work very closely with the president. Do you want to see him stay beyond 2016, whether it is by term extension or via a second term?
I believe that we should find a person who will really aggressively push the reforms that the president has started. Okay, that's the basic premise. We've gone through 4 years of really putting in and planting and sowing the seeds of reform. Very difficult. You've disturbed the rice bowls of the status quo. Going back to status quo is certainly not acceptable to us who have pushed hard. We've elevated the level of the standard of governance in this country. People expect the administration to be very transparent. These are the virtues that we'd like to see continue.
You said a while ago, I hope we can find somebody, no?
And that's what the president was saying during his sonnet.
Well, you personally, have you found that person? I mean, you don't have to name the person, but have you found that person?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah?
Yes. There are you mean...
Have you personally found that person
Who
you
will?
think can continue what you said a while ago?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I won't ask you anymore who it is because I know you won't give an
very,
answer.
very
Yeah.
confident of that person.
We'll take a short break. Please stay with us. News.PH will be right back.
I urge all of you who have been comrades in the struggle against the dictatorship to be active in stopping this insidious plan clad in the guise of good intentions. This, I sincerely believe, is how we can best protect the legacy of Senator Ninoy Aquino.
Para liwanagin na talagang ang sabi nga ng Pangulo, hindi naman siya interesado sa second term, hindi siya interesado doon sa pag-amyenda ng saligang batas during his term. So para matapos na itong usapin ito.
Welcome back. You're still watching News.PH. I'm Pion Vera. Still with us, Secretary Edwin Lacerda. Secretary Lacerda, I remember I asked you earlier, can you come to the show wearing those yellow rubber shoes that you had on in your profile picture on Twitter?
Yeah.
What is the story behind those yellow rubber shoes?
That was, I was trying to, how do you call it, break it in?
Break it in.
Because
okay.
we were going to hold a sports fest. The entire cabinet was going to hold a sports fest.
Yeah, what year was this?
Sometime in February this year.
February
I
this
remember
year.
I came
Okay.
home from the negotiations with the Bangsamoro.
Okay. And then? Okay. So you were wearing those yellow rubber shoes. Who
Because
gave
I
it
was
to you?
part of, Secretary Marwaras gave us, I was part of the team of Team Blue.
Team
the president
Blue.
was Team Yellow.
Yeah, wait,
We were-
Team Blue is Mar Rojas' team.
And then Team Yellow was the president.
presidents.
Then ES was Team
ES Jojo Ochoa was team
Green, I think.
Green. Okay, so there were two other...
There were two other teams. I forgot who headed those two other teams. Was it, I think, Rene Almendras was the other one.
Okay. But anyway, so you were Team Blue.
And Vice President.
How did you end up... Oh, Vice VP, huh?
Yeah, I think, but he wasn't there.
Okay. How did you end up in Team Blue?
I don't know. It was just, I just got assigned to Team Blue.
You just got assigned. It's not like you chose or
No,
something.
no, we didn't. We were just given, oh, kayo ang members ng ganito, ganito, ganito.
Yeah, okay.
Ricky was in the team of ES.
Oh, interesting. Okay, but it's also interesting that you were in Team Blue, no, in Mars team.
I have no idea who puts
Yeah.
there. I came from Malaysia for the negotiations on the Bangsamoro.
Okay, of course, that question had nothing to do with 2016 and
Of
and
course,
your
there's
choice.
none.
Not
You're
at
very
all.
naughty talaga, Pia.
Yeah, okay. A while ago, we were speaking to Congressman Tupas and Congressman Ridon about the impeachment complaints, no? When the House Justice Committee the House Justice Committee voted to approve the impeachment, sufficient informed, no? Was that okay with you? That was okay with the palace?
I think if you look at the allegation, I think if you look at the impeachment complaint, it was really formed. And based on the discussions, even with Congressman Tupas, you really have a sense that they were going to be liberal with interpretation on the matter of form. I saw the arguments by Congressman Rufus Rodriguez. Very, if it was a court, that would have been very convincing.
Okay.
But this is a body where they exercise a political process. And so they chose to invoke the spirit of liberality.
Okay.
And I suppose that's okay. And I suppose that's all right. But looking at the allegations of the impeachment complaints, certainly we do not agree with that.
Okay. So, pero di na dapat palampasin ng committee to? Sa palagay mo? Because after sufficiency in substance, if they say sufficient in substance, merong portion na pasasagutin na si Presidente, mga ganon.
Doon sa sufficiency of substance, sa amin, of course, we don't believe that the allegations would rise to the level of an impeachable offense. But to say that and to say that dapat hindi na palagpasin, that would send out signals na parang inuutusan namin kayo.
Yeah,
and we're not doing that.
Executive overreach.
And we're not doing that.
And you're not doing
We're
that?
not doing that. In fact, this is the first time I saw Neil after so long.
Okay. What has the President said about these impeachment complaints? In your private conversations, is he worried? Not worried? Doesn't matter to him?
We're focused on the concerns of the country. Una-una na, nakita mo naman yung impeachment complaint, yung allegations. I mean, how could you even think that these are all impeachable offenses? I mean, allegations on DAP, allegations on, in EDCA, hindi natuloy yan, ano? Pero, for us, are these some things that are these things that rise to the level of impeachable offense? We don't think so.
Okay. What has the President said about the Senate investigation of Vice President Binay?
We have not discussed that.
No discussions on that. But how does Malacanang see that?
No, Vice President Binay defended himself today. He did it, he spoke directly to the Filipino people. He is entitled to do so. So, and this is also a matter where, this is not a matter of that he was involved in as a national government official. I've explained this a while ago, that this is a matter where he is being accused of some allegations in his term as mayor of Makati. So we cannot comment on that point precisely.
Not even to defend him? Or,
no, but
after all,
we were
the
asked about
President
trust and confidence. I don't see any reason why we will not. There's no trust and confidence in the Vice President.
In the President?
In the Vice President.
Okay. Should people know, with the Senate investigation, at kung ano-anong lumalabas doon, dapat ba malaman ng tao yung lahat ng lumalabas dyan sa Senate?
I was asked that also, why are they doing that investigation? And I would say that I'd rather Senator Trillanes and Senator Cayetano.
No, but my question is, should people know about that? Is it something that must be brought to the national consciousness?
Nandiyan na eh. I mean, the ball is already started to roll. I mean, what additional input can you get from the palace? It's because we're not handling the investigation. So whether we say one thing or the other, the ball has started to roll.
Yeah. Today in Congress, napag-usapan yung budget ng DILG at medyo nagkainitan na naman, Kasi ang sabi nga ng mga ibang congressman, the DILG's budget is a presidentiable sport. Do you agree with that?
Alam mo, ang ikli talaga ng memorya ng mga tao eh. This whole thing started as PUB, bottom-up budgeting. It was changed to GPBP.
Grassroots
Participatory Budgeting Process. Primarily because some of the members of the cabinet was calling it bottoms-up budgeting. Sabi ni Presidente, teka, palitan na natin yung pangalan, nagkakamali tayo. It's really called bottom-up budgeting. From the bottom up.
Yeah.
It's one of the reforms introduced by Butch and Jesse Robredo. It started all the way from Jesse Robredo. And people are thinking na itong BUB na to, nilagay yan para kay Mar. It's not true. It's where you see, that's why it's called participatory governance. You see people in the community deciding for themselves, identifying what are the priority projects that we want to see in our community. Then you've got the involvement of, this is not just sinong pwedeng sumali. There are clear guidelines who are going to be part of this whole thing. And so you've got a number of projects all over the municipality, all over the country. In fact, it is something that the outside world is looking into as a form of citizen engagement. Government is engaging citizens to make a difference in the community. So that's where it's coming from. And if you're saying na, tanggalin natin yung project na yun kasi para kay Marian, it's wrong. Anti-people kayo.
Pero yung grassroots participatory ba, kailangan talagang DILG ang mag-handle nun?
May mga projects doon na, sorry, it involves grassroots and local government working together. So kailangan mo mag-implement, kailangan mo nag-monitor. You need implementation. You know, we're part of that, by the way, as part of open government partnership. I'm the Butch Abad is the country chair. I was asked to be co-country chair. And kung matatakot sila Terry Ridon, sila Tinyo, na ito ba igagamitin para sa KMAR or ito ba matutuloy, guess what? We've got transparency initiatives there. We've asked the citizens, the NGOs, monitor it. We're going to teach them how to do geotagging. For instance, it's a kailangan mo ng sanitation facilities. Through the use of your smartphone, you're able to geotag. Kasi yung geotagging is with coordinates yan eh, longitude, latitude. So you won't say that the project in Samar, the picture is taken in Bohol, tapos sasabihin mo, project yan sa Samar. There are coordinates. So we're making sure that this project, totoong nangyari yan sa Samar. So these are all part of the reform initiatives and engaging citizens eh. So to say that this is may political to, is to take away the philosophy of citizen engagement. That's why we're very excited about this thing. We're not even looking at it from a political point of view. We're looking at it as part of citizen engagement, engaging citizens to be proactive citizens in their community. We're talking of local. We're not talking of national. But the projects
but that's
are
where the votes will come from, hindi ba?
It's
local,
not.
di ba?
It's when it's why you engage them. It started off as idea from Jesse Robredo, and it's something that Lenny Robredo is also very gung-ho about because it really works. You excite the community. Hey, you're part of the community. Don't be just a bystander there. Come and join us. Let's build the community. Let's build it up. That's why it's called bottom-up budgeting. You come together, you discuss a project, magkano ang budget dyan, pag-aralan natin. Then national government will come, okay, importante, tama ba ito? We do all the implementation will be done. Monitoring will ensure that it is properly implemented. It's an exciting new field. And Terry Ridon and all the left are taking away and making, and the opposition like sila Toby are making it sound like, oh, this is so political, but it's not. Go down to the community level and you will see how government has engaged the citizens in the most municipal level. It's an exciting reform.
No, it sounds interesting. Sounds exciting.
That's why I'm very excited about it.
Final words.
On what? What do you want?
Oh, anything you want. Well, although you could answer this question between Mar Ross and George Ubinay, who would you vote for in 2016?
I would vote for whoever the president will endorse as his candidate in 2016, if he has already made a decision with respect to charter change.
Yeah. What about the Liberal Party's choice?
The voice of the opinion of the president will matter greatly. In the deliberation in the LP. Of course, he's the chairman of the Liberal Party.
Okay, and those are your final words now?
Those are my final words, Madam
Okay,
Pia.
thank you very much, Secretary Edwin Lasher, the presidential spokesman. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, and thank you for watching. See you again next Wednesday. Good night.